Okay, we will start. I'm going to give it maybe another minute. I feel like I was trying to get everything situated. My computer's changed a little bit, so I was trying to make sure everything was still set up right. But I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season and is having a good 2022. I know I'm excited. I always love New Year's. It feels like fresh starts and all the excitement that comes with that. And I personally I just love that time of year. Not the cold, but I like just the start of a new year. It's always fun. I'm in Georgia, and we actually had snow. Was about a week and a half ago now, where we had almost 2 inches. So I'm kind of at the foothills of the mountains in North Georgia, and so we had quite a bit of snow, which was interesting because Georgia rarely gets snow, but we had some, and that was interesting. So I'm kind of glad that it melted because Georgia is not prepared when we do have snow. So I hope that everyone's been staying safe and also healthy. I know if you traveled, it could have been crazy with getting sick. I know a lot of people were sick. I was sick for quite a bit. So I hope that everyone is safe and healthy. So let's see. So it is a few minutes after. And so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see. So we're going to cover your 2022 Amazon marketing plan, and this is part 2. So if you didn't have a chance to watch the first part, you can actually watch just this, and it'll still all make sense, but you'll just have more to kind of go through as you're thinking about your Amazon marketing plan for this year if you watch the first part as well. So it'll just kind of really add to it. But to be quite honest, you'll be able to take these things and topics that we're going to cover today, and you're going to be able to then really run with it, even if you're just watching this section. So like I said, don't feel like you're kind of behind on anything. You're going to be able to follow along because it kind of stands on its own. But to be quite honest, this would have been a very, very long webinar. And I know at a certain point, it's easy for, just like attention span to be like, okay, it's just going to be too much if it was more than an hour, to be quite honest. So it probably would have been closer to 2 hours if I would put it all together in one, which is why I've split it out. And I think this will be really helpful though. Developing a custom action plan is going to be based on where you are now and what you need to do as a result of that now. So the first thing I want to discuss is to set clear goals. Remember, if you kind of just know, I want to grow sales on Amazon, that is a great starting point. Most brands want to do that. I don't think I've ever talked to anyone that says that they are okay with where they're at. There always has to be that next level of growth that it is happening. So wherever you are, trying to take it to that next level, but you have to have clear goals. So what are your goals for 2022? Have you already created them? If not, I'll give you some ideas to get you started on thinking through those specifically for Amazon, your sales goals there. So Brian Tracy, a quote from him is, "Success is goals, all else is commentary." So if you don't have goals set in place, then what is it actually going to lead to? So it's really important to have this. So here's a nice picture of a peaceful ocean with the sailboat. And as you can see, the sailboat's just sitting there. It's not really moving, right? That is not what you want to have happen to your sales on Amazon, right? I can almost guarantee you that you do not want your sales to stay where they were, or worse, go downhill because other people are taking market share from you on Amazon from last year in 2021, right? You want to have some movement, right? When you have those clear goals in mind and things that you are trying to attain and reach for Amazon, that's when you start being more like that sailboat that kind of catches wind in the sails, and you start having movement and are making traction. And that's what I want to have you have happen this year for 2022. A lot of you have probably already heard of this Harvard study, but I think it's really interesting and helpful to bring up in case you haven't heard of it. But 13%, for instance, had goals, but they had not written them down. And this was, 84% didn't even have specific goals. So the majority of people didn't have specific goals. So if you're at that place right now, remember you're not alone, but then also think through making specific goals for Amazon. And then 3% of those people that were studied, they had clear goals. They had written those goals down and they had plans to accomplish them, right? So just think about those. Now, those 13% of the class who had goals were earning twice as much as the people who didn't have any goals at all. So that first statistic to the second one, that's a huge, twice as much. I mean, that's a huge jump, right? And then even more staggering, that 3%, so the smallest portion of those people that were studied who had clear and those written down goals, they were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together, which is a crazy high difference, right? So make sure that, you have those goals. That's why I hope that you have a pen and paper in front of you. And if not, maybe you could find something to write on that's around your desk that would help you. So goal setting, like kind of the framework for this, you obviously need to have those written goals and plans. Those are people that are going to be most successful, the brands that are going to be most successful, have those written down and they have a plan for making that happen. And at minimum, you really need to look at your 1-year goal, your quarterly goals, and then your monthly goals. So specifically, obviously, we're going to talk under the framework for sales growth on Amazon. And then you must have kind of that stopping point where you also look back and reflect. So if you haven't already, make sure you look back to your fourth quarter for 2021. What did that look like? How did you do? Did you have goals for that quarter? If so, can you find those and do you see what actions you took in that quarter and what the results were, right? That's going to really also give you a nice base kind of groundwork for setting those new goals too. Because if you don't look back at your other goals, you may set goals that are way too high and not realistic, or you might set goals that are not challenging enough. So if you haven't already, jot down a note to basically look at your Q4 sales on Amazon. Look at those reports. See what happened with your sessions. See what happened with your conversion rates. See what happened with the revenue and how many units were sold, things like that. Okay. And for 2022, these are some things to kind of think through when you're thinking of your goals. What is going to be your revenue target? So for the whole year, what do you want to have happen with your Amazon sales? Once again, if you need a frame of reference, go back to 2021 as well, right? That'll kind of give you a starting point. So if you have no clue off the top of your head, make sure to have that in front of you. So what is this new target that you're trying to hit for this year? Then take that number, and I'm going to give you an example on the next slide, but take that number and how much would that be monthly? And then think about how many units do you need to sell to hit what you require for your monthly target. And then also for Amazon, you'll want to look at what's your average cart value of people that are buying products from you. And all that data you can get within Amazon. So let me give you an example, because sometimes it can seem a little bit abstract. So the math has already been done, thankfully, so I don't have to do math off the top of my head. But here's an example. Let's say your revenue target for this year in 2022 on Amazon, just on Amazon. Remember, that's what we're kind of referencing. Obviously it's going to be different when you think holistically, but what's that revenue target that you want to hit on Amazon this year? Let's say it's 600,000 for the whole year. Then break it down to how much is that per month? So that would be $50,000 in sales per month on Amazon. Then let's look at your average cart value. Let's say for this example, let's say on average when they're buying products, maybe you have kind of mid and then higher products, but on average, people are spending about $75 when they buy from you on Amazon. So then to determine how many units sold that will require you to hit that revenue goal, that monthly revenue goal, you're going to take your monthly target and you're going to divide it by the average cart value. So that 50,000 divided by the average cart value, which in this example is $75. So for this example, that breaks down to you would need to sell 667 units per month to hit your monthly target that would then help you to hit your overall 2022 goal. Now, you also may want to look at historical data. This is a side note, because I do know for some of you, Q4 may be a heavier sales month than earlier in the year, but I would be careful about trying to rely solely and almost expecting it to be really high or to jump much higher than it has historically for Q4, because a few different reasons, but like I said, cost per click and advertising does become more competitive in Q4 on Amazon. So just try not to rely so heavily on Q4 because it would be really nice to spread it out. Now, also, if you have a seasonal type product, that's something to keep in mind too. But how many units will you need to sell to hit that target? Then this is where, if you pull up your Amazon business reports, it's going to help you tremendously. But then you need to look at how many sessions do you need. So sessions, remember, is how many times someone for one product, and we like to look at the reports by the child ASIN. So you could have a parent ASIN, which is your listing, and then you could have variations, which are called the child ASIN or the child listings. So look at what is your session per product. So let's say you have an 8-ounce and a 16-ounce version of a product. Look at it for both, right? So you look at the sessions that you're getting on the 8-ounce, separately look at the sessions on that 16-ounce of your product, for instance. So how many sessions have you had? And then look at your conversion rate from when they purchased. So for Amazon, your business reports, I've mentioned this before, but it's that unit session percentage data point. So when you're looking at business reports, those are two metrics that you're going to look at. Those are ones that we heavily focus in on as well with the brands that we work with. We're looking at how many sessions are happening, and then how well is it converting, right? So then you need to divide your sessions, so how many times people are visiting that your one listing, and divide that by your target conversion rate. Okay. And that could, you could also look at increasing your conversion rate from what it is. That's what you're always going to want to do. Even if you think that your listings are great and really built out, you always need to be testing as well. So here's a concrete more example once again. So it's not so just abstract, but it's actually tangible to kind of think through. What is your average conversion rate from sessions to purchase? Let's say it's 20%, which is very doable on Amazon. On average, the data, I can't remember the exact number, but it was it was either high 11 or right around 12% is actually the average conversion rate that people are seeing on Amazon. For most products, though, we have seen much higher than that. It does depend on the competitiveness of your niche and things like that, and how optimized your listing is, things like that. But we have, 20% is a really good starting target, and we've seen much higher than that with converting rates. But let's say it was 20%. So then you need to divide your sessions target. So remember, let's go back to that example. Let's say it's 3,335. 667 sessions, divide that by 0.2. And then that's going to give you're going to need 3,335 sessions per month to hit your target. So do you see how we're kind of just reverse engineering to figure out, okay, if this is my goal, how am I going to get there? And this will also help you to see if it's doable and tangible and not too far-fetched of a too aggressive of goal, especially if you're not willing to be aggressive with, advertising and things like that. So what is your goal for 2022? And how many sessions will you need to get there? Now, some of these things you're going to have to make notes to probably pull up your business reports and to get into looking and seeing what's happening. But hopefully those examples will give you an idea of if you don't already have those goals and those targets yet, or if you do have them and you want to make sure that they're on track for what you can achieve, then those are formulas that you can use to kind of essentially reverse engineer that.